In a way, this is too simple to even speak about. It's like speaking about chocolate pudding. That ain't chocolate pudding. So this is unknowable. Because how could you know everything? And knowing deadens our experience right now. Knowing is like a filter. So it kind of weighs it down because there's my likes, there's my dislikes, there's commentary, there's feeling, there's all this generated package that seems to be accompanied with knowing something, a position. Freedom doesn't have a position. It's too free. Now, the good news, and this was, for me, the resonance with Nkosi is already is the good news. He's saying there never was a me. Why is that good news? Because there's nothing to get rid of. Now, if you go into thought, go into mind, go into identification, then, well, that's a knowing. I know something. I have a position. So you can see as soon as I have a position, the freedom is elsewhere. Not really, but and so this message is pointing at just the simplicity of what is without knowing anything. How simple? You've never moved. So this is all about resonance. There's nothing to know, nothing you need to figure out, nothing to understand. It's just all pure resonance. I don't know, people ask me sometimes what I mean by resonance. I mean, you know, if you go to the shoe store and the guy brings out, 6 pairs of shoes, yes, no, maybe a little tight. And then finally you put on one pair and they fit like a glove. You just slide right into them like they're meant for you. You just know, I'll take that one. So if separation as an appearance it's seen that, how can I say it? This that it's appearing in is undivided. And so everything is it. Everything is the miracle. The liking it, the not liking it, the getting annoyed, the laughing, all of it. There's no escape. That's what means all is this. Even the sense of feeling like a separate me is perfectly this. I love when Nkosi says to Alice, make no efforts. So everything comes and goes, feelings come and go, moods come and go, thoughts come and go, little stories that are believed seem to come and go. It's all happening by itself. No one's doing it. Like, so that's the part about resonance, that no one's doing this. Really, if I could put my finger on it. It's something about that. You're like, yes. So this is an open meeting, meaning everybody's allowed to participate. If you have a question or comment, please feel free to unmute and jump in. Okay, I'll say one more. It's kind of a shock when you realize you've always been okay. Like life is doing everything already. Ah, there's the word. Where's the duck? Yeah, life has always been doing everything already. So all the stuff that the me thought, that Michael thought, you know, I mean, it's like a dream. When you're having a dream at night, it does feel real. No doubt about it. 100% while you're dreaming. But don't move means you're unmoved by the dream. So that's why, you can go to Nkosi and say anything you want to him because it just doesn't touch. It's all fine because he knows it's all wholeness. He's looking at wholeness because that's all he sees is wholeness. So he's not buying into your story, but he's happy to sit with you and let you tell it because he knows, right? If you're already whole, right? It would be like, I don't know. So last week we were talking about pain. So pain is just what it is. And wanting it to go away can arise, and then that's what is. And then maybe a few hours later, there can be the noticing it's subsiding, and then that's what is. So it's just this constant, there's no break in life. It's never stopped. There's never been a timeout or a pause. It's only seems that way in the mind with stories. Seems to carve it up into segments. But that's like I was talking last week about time being illusory. That story was time, and time is story. And so whatever happens is not you doing it, and it's not, quote, other people doing it either. So nobody's doing it. So that's why Nkosi was saying on the last audio I uploaded, which is phenomenal, of course. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, at the beginning of that one from Alice, Nkosi talks about his, quote, journey as a seeker, which I had never heard before. So I put that on there as the opening. So if you haven't heard it, it's really interesting to hear him share about the me falling away into the heart. And then he couldn't find himself.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're good, John.
I had a friend pass away this week,
Mm.
and I've been spending some time with him recently. A little bit older than me, we became friends over the years. And he was the one who was saying, you know, we're having discussions, and he was saying, oh, I'll come back and say hello if I can. And I was going, okay, nothing too freaky, no haunting or anything weird, just, you know, I have no idea what's that energy, the wholeness. And so he passed away during the week. And there's a whole other story I won't go into about dreams and presence in the dreams that was very, very strange. But before he was going, he said he had a mixture of fear and excitement. And as he passed, there was no real sadness here. There was just seeing that there was life expressing, and then that life is no longer expressing. But the idea of the contracted entity was just his thoughts about that. Of course, there were other little things that happened. A little bird popped up and moved towards me as I was talking to it. And of course, the mind goes, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if that's, you know, some sort of interactive expression in the whirlpool of energy that was him. But it led on to a broader view of what's going on here. And each one of us has had and has perhaps the very real experience of being a separate individual. And there was just a relaxed overview, I suppose, of, it wasn't really any particular thinking, but it was like, there is no individual here actually doing stuff. It's life expressing and doing this through the human biology. And we hear a lot of talk throughout the world of world events, and there's riots and the health, you know, the health regulations and all the stuff that's going on globally. And of course, the individual self-thought, identity, sees injustice and sees the world and everything is in struggle. There are all these individuals, supposed individuals, struggling against those other individuals that are controlling the whole thing and mandating things and all of that. And yet it's all one thing. There isn't anything separate happening at all. There isn't any separate individuals in government or power or, you know, riots or people with, you know, protesting. There's nobody. There's just one complete, connected, interactive life energy doing this. There is nothing. There is no separate person. There is no injustice. There is no wrong. There is no, it's just life in fluctuation, bubbling and turmoiling, turbulenting and expressing and being creative and finding harmony and balance again. Perhaps not now, perhaps in years, perhaps next week, we don't know. But just as a global overview, there is no one actually doing any of this. There is just one expression interacting. And I think if you it's just a reminder that when we get, you know, fixated on the separate self, if you look at the big picture, there's actually no one doing any of that anyway. There are no doers of anything that's happening in the world at the moment. It's life doing what it's doing as one.
It's like there is no one in command, no pilot in the plane.
No, and I hear a lot of people saying, oh, the governments are doing this and the politicians are doing this, and there's no one doing any of it. It's just life in expression doing that. And it's just a reminder when the separate self is looking into itself that the thought structure of being of the separate self doesn't like hearing any of this, but it's a reminder on a global scale. There's no one doing any of that. It's quite mind-blowing for the separate self thought entity, but it can be a reminder to go, what, of course. There's nothing personal happening anywhere at all. There's nothing personal at all.
Hi, Nkosi.
Hi, Nkosi.
Nice to see you,
Hello,
man.
hello everyone.
Welcome.
Hi.
So all those world events and seeming things are fine, but Nkosi, last week you spoke a little bit about, maybe you could touch it on it again. Nothing is taken too seriously here.
Yeah. As John has said, it's just life expressing as that. You know, there's really nothing going on. It's just life going on. So here as well, it is seen that or what seems to be appearing is just this nothingness appearing. So there is no real individual who's doing anything. There are no individuals, you know. So whatever may seem to be happening, you know, it's just this happening, you know. Everything is nothing appearing. So here it's seen that, you know, how can I put it? It's like seeing the bodies moving around. I see bodies move around. It's like they don't know where they are going. It's superficial. It's theatrical. It's more like a play because it is seen that there's nothing in them. They are seen moving around, going up and down, and voices talking, but everything is like it's meaningless. Doesn't, you know, it's not taken seriously because it is seen that it's nothing appearing as that. It's just wholeness appearing as different individuals. There are no real different individuals here. It's just wholeness appearing as that. No matter which story may seem to appear, it's just wholeness appearing as that story, you know. So all the characters that seem to appear, it's just this wholeness appearing as those characters. There are no real characters. The one who seems to be looking for this is just an imagination appearing in this, and is also this. So, as I always say, that one will never receive any help because it's not even there. It doesn't really exist. It's imagined. How can that which is imagined get anywhere? How can that one receive help? How can that one be enlightened? Because it's just an imagination. It's not even there. It has never existed. The individual, separate individual has never existed. And it will never exist. There is only ever this wholeness appearing. So what seems to be the me looking for this is already this. So there's nowhere to go. There's no escape. No matter what may be said, It doesn't matter who seems to be saying it. It's just this appearing as that. So an individual doesn't really exist. So an individual will never die, will never collapse, because it's not even there. It's just an imagination. It's just an appearance that never even appeared. There is only ever this nothingness appearing. So all is okay. There's nothing wrong with anything. There's no wrong and right. So, excuse me. This is just as it is. It's just as it is. And whatever may seem to be happening right now, it's just this. This doesn't suppress anything. Everything is just allowed to be as it is. And then there may seem to be thoughts appearing that say so many things, but it's just an appearance in this, and it's also this. There is no real somebody behind those thoughts. Any thought that may appear is just disappearing. There is no real separate individual who's thinking thoughts. Emotions, they are just appearances in this. The body is just an appearance in this. And there's also this. So really, there's no escape here. No matter where you can go, no matter what you can do, there is only ever this. And nothing is excluded. Nothing is ever excluded here. So really, there's nothing to find here. There's nothing to do. Because there's already no one here. There's no doer already. What seems to be happening has got nothing to do with any individual. Because there are no individuals here. It's just life. There's no beginning or end to it. Any question that may arise right now is just this, nothingness. There's no real somebody who's asking the question. So the question is already the answer. There's no one here. It's only ever this.
I have to say, I love that one. I'm sorry, is that clear when he says the question is already the answer, or would you like us to spend a moment? Because that's wholeness.
Spend a moment.
So if there's only wholeness, then what must be asking the question?
Wholeness.
There is only ever this. Then who's searching for this? Who's looking for this? It can only be this nothingness, wholeness. So there is no escape. There is no one outside of this who wants to get to this. So no one can know this, no one can find this, and no one can become this, because there's only this. You can't go wrong with this. Yeah, there is no escape. There is no escape. Yeah. Everything is just this. Everything is already nothing. That's it.
What does nothing need? It reminds me of a play where the characters start to believe their lines. Oh, I'm really this very bad man who's a banker and I'm stealing. Oh, I feel terrible for cheating my customers. I've forgotten that it's a play. I have these words that were given to me and I memorized them. So I did such a good job. I really, so for me, that's the innocence. Nobody did anything wrong. No guilt here. Just freedom.
I have a question.
I got to leave.
Hi. Some people say that they are sad when they realize that they're never been there. And I find it so joyful. I outburst in joy, not to be, but I don't know. It's strange. I heard some message. People say they cry. I don't cry. I find it's a relief. Anyway.
Yeah.
Did you have an experience of feeling yourself there and then not there? Or have you always felt that way?
Speaking to me, yes. Okay. The uncompromising message came to me like, well, I've heard a lot of this message before, and recently, I don't know exactly when, it's just come, oh, that's it. It's like I was very preoccupied with somebody here. I don't have to be preoccupied anymore. So nothing matters. But it's beautiful. It's but I cannot tell very well. My English is not very good too, but it's undescribable, I guess. I cannot tell. And that's it.
That was beautiful, Guyleen. And the fireplace behind you was perfect.
Yeah.
Because it was dancing. And look at the fireplace behind Guyleen. It's beautiful for no reason.
Yeah.
Who was the person, Michael, who you mentioned once who got on a bus or something? And this was a long time ago. You told a story. Someone told a story. Got on a bus, had identification with self, got off the bus, and the self was gone.
Yeah, she wrote a book. Yeah.
I mean, imagine that, how weird that must be.
Yeah.
Like the Twilight Zone, you know?
Well, to me, that sounds juicy. Like, oh, what a great story. I wish that would happen to me. But that's not the message here. The message here is there's already no me. So there's nothing that's going to happen to you.
There's an experience that happens that I think brings it to light more. I don't know, it hasn't happened to me. I mean, the experience hasn't happened to me, but there's a knowing that that's true, but there's not an experience in the body of that nature.
So the me that's not there is waiting for an experience. So then there's a rejection of this moment. Because if I'm waiting for an experience, then this couldn't be good enough. It couldn't just be this Zoom meeting. It couldn't just be Nkosi's beautiful words. It couldn't just be the walls, the air, the temperature, blinking of the eyes. Couldn't just be the simplicity of what's happening.
And Gillian, I was listening to your words a couple of times over a couple of weeks where you're saying, oh, my English is not so good and the words aren't coming out right or whatever. And I just had this impression that actually that's probably closer to being a good thing rather than a hindrance, because that lack of being able to solidify into concepts and the command of the word might actually leave it a little bit more as just a fluid interaction that doesn't have it, you can't really solidify it into the words you want to make, which are just concepts. So I just watch what you're doing. It's beautiful. The flow, just the expression, the freedom that comes through you is so beautiful. Such a beautiful expression.
Yeah, so the wholeness never moves. It's the thoughts that are moving. That's it. Any last comments or questions before we close out this evening? Thank you everyone so much for coming. Everyone have a great evening. Nkosi, brother, thank you so much. And I'll
Thank
get
you.
this, I'll get
Thank
this
you.
up on YouTube.
Bye-bye. Thank you,
Merry
Michael.
Christmas.
Thank you guys. Merry
Oh,
Christmas.
yeah.
Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas.
Merry
Thank you.
Christmas.
Bye.
Good night.